Okay, so we've annotated an extract for Romeo and Juliet. Now we're going to have a look at one from Frankenstein. So just as in Romeo and Juliet, for your lit paper, you want to go ahead and consider where it takes place. Usually you'll be given some kind of information about it here. This particular extract is taken from chapter 3. Okay, so this is at the very beginning of the book. We have met Walton, we know sort of what's happened to Frankenstein on the ship, and then Victor Frankenstein begins to tell his story. So it's in this chapter that his mother dies. We've already met Elizabeth, and Victor sort of begins his quest for knowledge. So this is before the creation of the monster, the deaths of William, Justine, etc. Okay, then we're going to look at the question, and we know that in Lit Paper 1, you have to talk about the extract you're given and the rest of the novel. This question asks us about how, because we know that that is AO2, that's our method, and the effects, Shelley. So the name is spelled there, you need to make sure you write it correctly. Presents knowledge and discovery. So things like how dangerous is the acquirement of knowledge, Victor's thirst for knowledge, all of that is relevant, and also discovery. This relates to the creation of the monster. My candle was nearly burnt out. But because the discovery of sort of life after death is attributed to Victor, then we can also consider the effects of the monster's creation. So any of those events you could discuss. All right, so now I'm going to go and I'm going to annotate the extract. I'm looking for things that relate to knowledge and discovery, but I'm also looking for method, okay, because I need to talk about not only things that relate to those themes, but to make sure that I can talk about metaphors, semantic fields, something of that nature. I only need 2. So I entered with the greatest diligence into the search of the philosopher's stone and the elixir of life. So that maybe would be 1. Okay. The philosopher's stone, the elixir of life. Okay, so this relates to Victor's quest for life after death. And we can maybe link that to his mother's death. In terms of method, if we talk about greatest diligence, you can talk about superlative. Remember, that is an adjective, the highest degree. And this idea that he's working incredibly hard. He's driven by the need to know. And then we can talk about this again, this idea of this being an allegorical warning against the dangers of science. Okay, if we look down, we'll find that this section relates to the incident of the lightning and the tree. So this whole section is a kind of warning, and it foreshadows what happens when you act against nature. It foreshadows the power of nature, and we know that's the sublime. So we witnessed a most violent and terrible thunderstorm. You can talk about those adjectives. Thunder burst at once with a frightful loudness from various quarters of the heavens. So you have celestial imagery, divine power of nature or the sublime. Soon as the dazzling light vanished, the oak had disappeared and nothing remained but a blasted stump. So you can talk about words in the semantic field of destruction. And again, this idea of the sublime, the power of nature. And we can say that this whole incident foreshadows the destruction of Victor's life. So this acts as a warning, and the tree is a symbol of nature's power to destroy. Okay? And then you're linking those to other quotations. There are 3 that you have there. Make sure that you're linking to the gold. We've mentioned allegorical warning, because this part here really relates to Victor's early desires, his need to learn, his vanity, and his attempt to usurp or take the place of God. And likewise, the sublime is relevant, this romantic concept. We know that Shelley was a romantic, and we also know that at the time you have the Industrial Revolution, galvanism. So science is making great strides, but the romantics would have been very wary of the effects of that. Okay, so that's what you want to do to annotate your extract, and that took us about 7 minutes. Really, you've got about 5. Okay, all right.